Have you ever wondered what a tiny ant, a messenger bird, and a powerful queen could possibly have in common? Well, today we're diving into the 27th chapter of the Quran, Surah An-Naml, which weaves them all together in an incredible story about power, wisdom, and faith.
Right from the very first verse, the surah tells you exactly what it is. It calls itself a clear book. So this isn't just about telling old stories, it's promising us clear-cut guidance and good news. It's basically saying that every story we're about to get into is a lesson designed to light a path for us.
And this brings us back to that central question. Seriously, how do an ant, a bird, and a queen all fit into one single narrative about faith? It sounds almost like a riddle, right? But the answer is really at the heart of this chapter's message about what real power and wisdom look like.
Now, to really get the main story, the surah first sets the stage. It lays down a foundation by talking about earlier prophets. And you start to see this timeless pattern emerge. God sends clear signs, but human arrogance and pride often get in the way. The first example? The epic encounter between the prophet Moses and Pharaoh.
So Moses comes to Pharaoh with 9 undeniable signs, miracles like his staff turning into a serpent and his hand glowing with a brilliant white light. But Pharaoh and his court, they were so blinded by their own power that they just dismissed it all as obvious magic. Now, remember this theme of rejecting clear signs, because it's going to be a huge contrast to our main character.
All right, now we meet the central figure of this surah, the prophet Solomon. And he was no ordinary king. He was blessed with incredible wisdom from his father, David, but also with gifts that were just beyond human imagination. We're talking about the power to command the wind, to understand what animals were saying, and to rule over a kingdom unlike any other. And his army, just try to picture this, it wasn't just made of men. It was this perfectly organized force of human soldiers, powerful jinn, and even flocks of birds, all moving together as one. With that kind of unbelievable power at your fingertips, you'd expect some big show of force, right? But Solomon's real strength, his true character, is revealed in a much, much quieter moment.
This moment just says it all. As this massive army is marching along, they come to a valley of ants. And because of his special gift, Solomon overhears a single ant yelling a warning to its colony to get out of the way. And here is the amazing part. A king of his stature, leading this incredible force, actually pauses for the voice of one ant. He doesn't just ignore it, he smiles. And his first reaction isn't pride. It's a prayer of gratitude, asking God to help him be thankful and righteous.
And you know, it's this very attention to the small things that kicks off the next major story. During an inspection of his birds, Solomon notices that one is missing, the hoopoe. The absence of this one little creature is about to change everything and introduce us to a faraway land and its very powerful queen. So when the hoopoe finally returns, it's not with some flimsy excuse, oh no, it comes back with some incredible intelligence. It's found the land of Sheba, a kingdom ruled by a queen who has everything you can imagine, immense wealth, a magnificent throne, the works. But for all their worldly success, the hoopoe reports that they're spiritually lost. They worship the sun instead of the creator. Solomon's response is immediate and crystal clear. He sends a letter with a simple, direct command. Do not be arrogant, but come to me in submission. But the queen, well, she's a smart and savvy ruler. She's not one to be rushed. She gathers her advisors and decides on a clever diplomatic move. She's going to send Solomon a huge gift to basically test him and see if he's just after wealth or if there's something more going on. When the queen's fancy gifts finally arrive, Solomon's rejection is absolute. He says, "What God has given me is far better than what he has given you." He's making it completely clear that this is not about money or politics. The wisdom and prophethood he's been given are things that no amount of gold can ever buy. So Solomon knows the queen is on her way, and he decides to demonstrate a kind of power that she just can't possibly comprehend. He throws out this unbelievable challenge to his court. Which of you can bring me her throne before she and her people even get here? He's about to show her that his power comes from a totally different source. First up, a powerful Ifrit from among the jinn steps forward, and his offer is just staggering. He says, I'll get it here for you before you even stand up from your council. I mean, just imagine the kind of power it would take to move a massive royal throne across kingdoms in a matter of hours. This alone shows you how extraordinary Solomon's court really was. But get this. Before anyone can even wrap their head around that incredible offer, another voice speaks up. This person, someone with knowledge from the divine scripture, makes an even more mind-blowing promise. Not in hours, but instantly.
I will bring it to you in the blink of an eye." And just like that, poof, the magnificent throne of Sheba appears right there in front of Solomon.
So what's Solomon's reaction to witnessing this impossible miracle? Does he boast? Does he take credit? Not at all. His very first thought is of God. He says, "This is from the favor of my Lord, to test me whether I will be grateful or ungrateful." Again and again, we see this deep humility. For him, every single display of power is just another test of his thankfulness.
When the Queen of Sheba finally arrives, she's absolutely stunned to see her own throne sitting there. Then, Solomon shows her one last wonder, a hall with a floor made of polished glass so clear that she actually thinks it's a pool of water. And in that moment, seeing a wisdom and power so far beyond anything she's ever known, she gets it. She doesn't submit to Solomon the king. Instead, she declares that she submits with him, to the one true Lord of all the worlds.
So the story of Solomon and the queen is incredible, right? It shows how extraordinary science can lead someone to faith. But now, the Surah kind of zooms out. It shifts from these amazing miracles to the everyday miracles that are all around us. And it starts asking these deep questions that are meant to make us see the signs in our own lives. The Surah just asks us to stop and think. Who made the earth a stable place for us to live? Who put the rivers and mountains here? Who is it that answers people when they're in distress and they call out for help? Who guides you in the dark? Who creates everything and then provides for it? Each question is like a signpost, pointing us away from confusion and towards a single compassionate creator.
Okay, so after showing us the signs in history and the signs in nature, the Surah turns towards the future. It brings all of these themes we've been talking about, power, humility, gratitude, disbelief, to their ultimate conclusion, the inevitable promise of a final day of judgment when everything will be accounted for.
And the chapter gives us this really vivid picture of what that day will be like. It starts with the blast of a trumpet so powerful it terrifies everyone in the heavens and the earth. Then comes the gathering, where every single person comes forward in total humility. And then finally comes the judgment, where every good deed is rewarded and every wrong one meets its consequence.
And with that, we've come full circle, right back to the Surah's opening promise. Now we really understand why these stories are told: the pride of Pharaoh, the humility of Solomon, the wisdom of a tiny ant, the journey of a powerful queen. These aren't just fairy tales. They're living lessons, a clear book that offers guidance and mercy to anyone who's looking for the right path. The Surah closes with this beautiful and powerful verse. It's a promise that God's signs will always be there for us to see, if we just look for them. And it leaves us with this final, profound reminder that resonates long after you finish reading. Nothing we do, no matter how small or insignificant it seems, ever goes unnoticed. It's just an incredibly humbling thought to end on, isn't it?